There's a moment, a split second, when someone calls you out, questions your worth, your character, or your intent. In that instant, most people do what they've been conditioned to do since childhood. They defend themselves. I didn't mean it. That's not what I was trying to say. You misunderstood me. I swear I'm not like that. It feels noble, fair, even mature. But to Machiavelli, it's the moment you lose everything. Because the instant you defend yourself, you signal that you need to. And in the world of power, perception is everything. If they see you flinch, they don't see a victim. They see blood. This is the law Machiavelli understood better than anyone. The one who defends himself lowers himself. The one who doesn't forces the world to defend him instead. Let's make one thing clear. Defending yourself rarely convinces anyone. It doesn't restore your image or prove your point. What it does is shift the power dynamic away from you. Because when you justify your actions, you're not just explaining, you're accepting their frame. You're saying, without realizing it, you have the authority to question me. And once you hand them that authority, they own the narrative. Even if you're right, you still look guilty. Because only the weak rush to explain. The strong, they let silence burn. They let the accusation hang in the air untouched because they understand the real move. Turn the accusation into a mirror. Make the accuser doubt themselves. Make them look unstable, emotional, obsessed. Whoever controls the frame controls the outcome. And Machiavelli mastered this long before anyone else. Most people defend themselves because they want to be understood. They believe that if they explain enough, clarify enough, repeat themselves enough, they'll be vindicated. But that belief doesn't come from strength. It comes from emotional weakness. You don't want to be understood. You want to be in control. Clarity is for therapy. Control is for power. Power doesn't come from being understood. It comes from being feared, respected, untouchable. So when someone calls you arrogant, cold, selfish, manipulative, and you immediately say, "No, that's not true," you've already lost. Because now you're reacting. Now you've shown that you care. You've handed them emotional leverage. And when you do that, you give up the most Machiavellian weapon you have, mystery. Think about the most powerful people you've ever met. Not the loud ones, not the people pleasers, the ones who could command a room with their silence, the ones who made you second-guess yourself just by holding your gaze, the ones who never flinched when attacked. Machiavelli would tell you this: he who explains submits. He who stays silent forces others to fill in the blanks, and they usually overestimate him. That's the game. When you don't react, people get uncomfortable. They start doubting their own words. They look for validation and find none. And in that silence, their power shrinks while yours expands, because you've done something emotional people can't handle. You made them talk to themselves. And that's how you flip power. You let their accusation die in the echo of its own weakness. Now let's go deeper. You walk into a room. Someone throws shade, maybe subtle, maybe direct, a jab at your success, your personality, your past. Everyone turns to see your reaction, and your move? Say nothing, no defense and no comeback, no smirk, just calm, total stillness. In that moment, you become untouchable. Because now everyone in the room is asking themselves, why didn't he react? Does he know something we don't? Is he above this? Suddenly, the jab that was meant to humiliate you has made you mysterious. You just flipped the entire social frame. Because people aren't watching the accusation, they're watching your response. And silence, when held with composure, speaks louder than any justification ever could. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He didn't just study politics, he studied psychology. And he knew that power isn't what you say. It's what people think you could say, but choose not to. Now here's the coldest move of all. Sometimes you don't just ignore the accusation, you invert it. Someone says, "You're manipulative." You look at them, calm and detached, and say, "If that's how you see it." Not defensive, not apologetic, just neutral. What happens next? They freeze. They were hoping for a reaction, hoping to watch you squirm. Instead, they're left holding their own weapon. And slowly, the guilt starts to sink in. They start wondering if they overstepped, if they embarrassed themselves, if they look insecure. And the truth is, they do, because you've just made them carry the emotional weight they tried to throw at you. You didn't fight back. You didn't even lift a finger. There's a moment when silence becomes unbearable, not for you, but for them. That's when the tables turn. They thought they were the accuser, but now they're exposed as the one begging for attention. And you just became something far more powerful than innocent. You became untouchable. Machiavelli knew what most people never will. Words aren't used to reveal truth. They're used to distort it. So when someone attacks you, subtly or directly, they want you to fight in the fog. They want to drag you into the emotional chaos. Because the more you explain, the less certain you appear. Instead, let them fill the silence. What happens next? They start repeating themselves. They overplay their hand. They begin to sound desperate, emotional, unstable. And while they unravel, you remain still. Now, they're the one under judgment, because the crowd isn't listening to the words. They're watching who's calm and who's rattled. That's social power, and it doesn't come from being right. It comes from being untouchable. Let's play this out in the real world. You're in a business meeting. Someone across the table takes a jab at you. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's not. I'm not sure the strategy's really thought through, or he always has these big, bold ideas. They're baiting you. They want you to prove yourself. What do most people do? They lean forward. They explain. They justify. They get nervous, and the room feels it. But the Machiavellian operator? He leans back. He waits. Maybe, just maybe, he smirks. And if he does speak, it's not a defense. It's a redirect. Let's hear your strategy then. Now the attacker's on stage. They have to perform. They have to justify their words. Suddenly, the room's watching them instead of you. That's how power flips. Silence from a confident person becomes a silent accusation. It forces others to defend themselves. It's the same dynamic in personal relationships, but even more dangerous there. Say your partner says, "You don't care about me anymore." The average person panics. They rush to explain, to reassure, to defend their love. And by doing that, they've already validated the emotional frame. But the Machiavellian approach? Different. You don't argue. You don't rush. You let the words hang in the air for a beat. Then calmly, quietly. That's not how I see it. No over-explanation, no pleading, just grounded certainty. What happens next? They start questioning their own tone. They wonder if they overreacted, if they sounded emotional. Because you didn't match their chaos, you controlled the tempo. And whoever controls the tempo controls the frame. Here's an even colder tactic, one that only the disciplined can pull off. When accused, disappear. Someone throws shade, insults you, drags your name through the mud. Don't respond. Don't block them. Don't acknowledge them. Just vanish. Let your absence sit like a mirror. What happens next is predictable. They spiral. They start imagining what you must be thinking, what your silence means. They write long posts. They vent to others. They look for validation. And every new move they make just proves your power. Because the average person needs emotional validation, even in conflict. If you take that away, they crumble. They'll say more, post more, rant more, while you stay still. And every word they say makes them look more unhinged. That's how you win. Not because you proved anything, but because they destroyed themselves trying to get a reaction from you. Now, if you want to go elite level, here's where things get surgical. Don't defend yourself. Invert the accusation. Make their attack look like a symptom of their weakness, and they say, "You're arrogant." You smile, shrug, and say, "Strange how confidence makes people uncomfortable." They say, "You're manipulative." You say, "Only people who can't be influenced think that." They say, "You're fake." You reply, "People always say that when they stop getting what they want." See what you did there? You didn't just deny their claim. You made it a projection. Now they're scrambling to defend themselves. It's not just a reversal, it's psychological judo. You used their own emotional energy and turned it into their public collapse. Machiavelli would call this the turn of the blade. You don't meet the sword with a shield. You let the attacker fall on his own blade. Because the world teaches you to defend your reputation, to clear your name. But that's the trap. The moment you chase innocence, you admit guilt. The true strategist never plays that game. He stands too calm to be shaken, too grounded to care, too certain in who he is to explain it. And over time, those who try to tear him down start to look unbalanced, jealous, emotional, weak. Because the more you defend, the more it looks like you need to. But the more you ignore, the more dangerous people assume you are. And that assumption, that quiet, uncertain fear, is where real power is born. Most people think power means proving yourself, proving you're right, proving you're not what they say you are. But Machiavelli would smirk at that, because the second you try to prove anything, you're admitting that their judgment matters. And when you hand someone that validation, you hand them your leash. Let's take another scene. You're at a dinner table, a social gathering, a meeting. Someone takes a shot at you, publicly. You always act like you know everything. Oh, he's always like this. Guess being humble isn't your thing. The normal person tenses up, tries to laugh it off, maybe explains, tries to smooth it over, but the Machiavellian doesn't rush. He pauses. Just 2 seconds, long enough for the tension to land. Then he scans the room, not aggressively, but with calm amusement, and maybe, if needed, he says something short and cold. "You seem emotional today." Or, "Interesting take." Or nothing at all, just a still, unreadable gaze. What happens next? The attacker starts fidgeting, looking around for backup, trying to explain their joke. They feel the room turn against them, because your lack of reaction told everyone something louder than words ever could. You're not the one under judgment. They are. And that's the key to social dominance. The room always reads energy. If you stay calm while someone else gets heated, the crowd will decide who's truly in control. Now, in the digital world, this dynamic is amplified tenfold. Comments, call-outs posts, DMS, everyone's trying to bait you into reacting. But here's the truth Machiavelli would tattoo on your mind. In the court of public opinion, silence looks like guilt, unless your silence commands fear. So the tactic is simple. Don't defend, don't explain, distort. When someone calls you toxic, manipulative, dangerous, don't post a long defense. Don't cry about being misunderstood. Instead, you reframe. You post something like, "People always call you dangerous when they can't control you." Boom. You didn't deny it. You redefined it. Now the accusation is turned into a compliment. They look bitter. You look composed. And the audience? They start wondering who's really in control. That's not damage control. That's narrative dominance. Machiavellian power is about controlling how people interpret you, not how they understand you. Because the more mysterious you are, the more they project their own fears onto you. And those projections? That's how myths are born. Let's get even more tactical. There are 3 tools you use instead of defending yourself. 1. Silence, cold, controlled, absolute. You don't flinch, you don't reply, you don't justify. You just let it sit. Because silence exposes insecurity faster than any argument ever could. 2. Deflection. You don't fight their narrative, you redirect it. You shift the attention, the tone, the power. 3. Precision cuts, sharp, minimal, final. You say something so simple and true that it ends the game right there. Let's see them in action. Someone says, "You're full of yourself." You respond, "Confidence upsets the insecure." They say, "You're fake." You say, "I don't owe you authenticity." They say, "You think you're better than everyone." You say, "No, I just don't think like everyone." See the pattern? These aren't defenses. They're status assertions. They don't say, "I'm not guilty." They say, "You can't touch me." And that's the core of Machiavellian power. The true operator never begs to be seen as good. He dares to be seen as bad and walks taller for it. Because when you refuse to defend yourself, something strange happens to your enemies. They become unhinged. They were ready for a fight. They wanted back and forth, drama, energy. But you gave them smoke, and they swing at it until they tire themselves out. They escalate. They post more. They rant longer. They reveal every insecurity they were trying to hide. And the more they spiral, the higher you rise, not because you fought them, but because you didn't. That's the Machiavellian endgame. You don't destroy your enemies. You let their obsession with you destroy them. Most people fear being misunderstood. But the Machiavellian knows being predictable is far worse. The misunderstood man has mystery. The predictable man is easy to manipulate. People who constantly try to explain themselves come across as desperate. People who remain calmly misunderstood are feared. Machiavelli said it best: "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But even deeper, it's better to be confusing than predictable. Because confusion breeds caution. Caution breeds respect, and respect is the currency of control. Let's crush the biggest illusion of all. You don't need a good reputation. You need a strong one. The man with a good reputation is polite, safe, agreeable, and therefore replaceable. The man with a strong reputation? He's not always liked, not always trusted, but everyone thinks twice before moving against him. That's what happens when you stop defending yourself. Your reputation stops being about what people believe. It becomes about what they fear. That's how you flip power. You stop chasing approval, and instead, you build an aura that makes people cautious, because even your silence starts to feel like a decision. Every move you don't make becomes a move in their minds. The final evolution isn't just silence, it's aura. A presence so steady, so self-assured, that accusations lose their weight before they even land. And this doesn't come from being emotionless. It comes from being unbothered by design. Because once you've trained yourself not to defend, not to explain, not to seek validation, you cross a line where your existence becomes your defense. And that's when power becomes effortless. Think about the people you admire most. The ones who never explain themselves, never argue online, never post rants trying to set the record straight. Yet somehow, they're respected more than the ones who talk endlessly. Why? Because silence in the face of accusation breeds myth. It creates a vacuum, and the human mind hates vacuums, so it fills it with strength. People start assuming you must be powerful. You must know something they don't. You must be so secure that you don't even blink when challenged. And that assumption, that quiet awe, that's what makes people follow you. Machiavelli didn't care about being good. He cared about being in control. And the one who never defends is always in control of perception, even in a storm of lies. Here's the paradox. The more you explain yourself, the more alone you look. Because no one feels the need to defend someone who's already doing it for themselves. But if you stay calm, silent, unbothered, people start to feel the imbalance. They sense the unfairness. And without you asking, they step in and they say, "That was uncalled for. He didn't deserve that. Why are you still attacking him when he hasn't even responded?" Suddenly, you have defenders you never recruited. And what's stronger than defending yourself? Letting others do it for you. That's Machiavellian leverage. Let the crowd fight your battles while you stay above the noise. Now you're not just respected, you're elevated. It doesn't happen overnight. You build it like a fortress, stone by stone, by choosing restraint over reaction, by choosing stillness over panic, by refusing to explain what doesn't need explaining. Start simple. Never correct insults that are clearly meant to provoke. Let them echo into nothing. Your silence tells the room it didn't even register. When someone takes an indirect shot, don't get offended. Respond with calm confusion. Is that how you see it? Delivered with serenity, it dismantles their emotional charge instantly. And when you must respond, Close the door with short phrases. Noted. Okay. Think what you like. Time will tell. Each one ends the scene. It doesn't invite more debate. Study your body language, your face, your gaze. The Machiavellian never twitches, flinches, or fidgets. Stillness is armor. And the more still you are, while others lose control, the more your invisible power expands. Because when people can't provoke you, they start to fear you, not out of hatred, but because you've become unreadable, a mirror that reflects their own instability back at them. Machiavelli would say, "The most dangerous man is not the one who attacks first. It is the one who never needs to." Eventually, the attacks stop. Not because you fought them, but because people know they'll lose before they even start. Your presence alone says it. I don't play defense. I let others destroy themselves trying to reach me. There's a difference between strength and immunity. Strength still flinches, still reacts, still bleeds. Immunity doesn't even acknowledge the hit. That's the Machiavellian ideal. You don't win the argument. You end it before it begins. Because when you no longer defend yourself, people stop seeing you as someone who can be put on trial. You've left the court of public approval behind. And now, the only judgment that matters is your own. From this point forward, you don't live in defense. You live in definition. You define your image. You define your tone. You define your silence. And people feel that. They feel the calm certainty in your posture, the quiet confidence in your eyes, the danger in your stillness. You're no longer resisting. You're commanding. And when that happens, the room shifts. The crowd goes quiet. Your enemies grow careful. Your name carries weight, not because you fought for it, but because you never explained it. Never defending yourself doesn't mean never speaking. It means speaking only when it moves power. Every word becomes a choice. Every silence becomes a move. And when you reach that level, you've become something the world can't control. A man who answers to no one,